And his barracks are at home. He's going for Rax Gas here, so a very normal start for ExpecT. He's not starting things off real hot with putting his barracks on the other side of the map and pulling some SCVs to try and get an early marine rush or like that. So I feel like that's something that if I was going to see aggression from either player, it would probably be from the Terran side of things, as Rex again feels like the stronger player at the moment. But it has been a while since I've seen these two players play, so things change so fast in StarCraft 2. You really got to watch everything to keep up, which is tough because, you know, if you really want to watch 24 hours of non-stop tournaments, you can do that in this 11-year-old esport. Just seems to churn out tournaments non-stop.
I would be impressed. I wonder if anyone has done that. A 24-hour StarCraft marathon not playing. I mean, playing, obviously the answer is pretty clear to me. I don't think I've done 24 hours in a row, but I've definitely pushed some degenerate streaks before.
Yeah, I don't think I've done 24, but I've definitely done an embarrassing amount of hours to the point where I've forgotten to eat meals and, you know, that kind of, you know, when a real epic gamer moment when you're actually just, you know, you're playing StarCraft on one screen and you got a tournament up on the other screen and it's a European broadcast, so you know you're up at a bad hour. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to see the European broadcasts, so, you know. And then you pop a white monster at 1 in the morning because you're buying a ticket for the 4 a.m. ladder game sessions. It's when I lived alone and Wings of Liberty was out, that was a different time.
Having a partner kills your gaming career every time. Can confirm.
It certainly damages it. Doesn't always kill it, but it doesn't mean you game more. Put it that way.
Definitely not. Practice hours not being put in other skills such as patience, not something that StarCraft usually teaches you.
Patience, tolerance, goodwill towards your fellow man. That's what you learn.
Well, straight into the 3 hatches. Over there, you do have the factory finishing up in tandem with the reactor, so I wouldn't be surprised to see some Hellions zooming across the map. Some roasty drones. Got a starport at home as well, so no crazy Hellion drops right off the bat. No crazy Widow Mine shenanigans going on. About as a standard opening to a game as I would ever expect.
Yep, regular old Reaper Expand 111. The Tech Lab going down as well to switch on over the starport for the ultimate regular build here from ExpecT, the most vanilla TVZ opener that you can go for. It can obviously, the reason why the 111 is so popular is it's safe, it gives you presence on the map, and also you can go into anything. You can go into mech out of this, you can go into bio out of this, you can go into Sky Terran if you want to. If you want to be super psychopathic, you can go Sky Terran, but it is just the most normal build and the most common build at the moment here for Terran, and bringing those Reapers, or rather the Reaper along with the Hellions here, does have him a little bit of an early game force, and is now a bit more of a threat to Zerglings and drones at the moment.
Yeah, no drones to be found over towards the 3rd. Queen production, pretty crazy from Rex. He's pumping them non-stop in combination with the drone, obviously for the defense, get that creep spread going. Viking is first out of the starpot, followed up by a bit of an off-timing cloak. It's not like he's rushing the Banshee out or anything like that. But sometimes these weird timings from, you know, post-Viking Cloak Banshee are the kind of things where you're getting past the point in the game where you kind of expect that kind of thing as a Zerg, and you can end up losing a little bit.
Well, we do have the Lings and Lair on the way with the Baneling Nest from Rex, who's happy with the drone production that he's got right now. It is time to respect the early game army from the Terran, so ground force is definitely useful here. It has lost an Overlord on the other side of the map, getting a little bit of supply block, unfortunately, so forced to get a couple Overlords out to deal with that. And, you know, you mentioned the Cloak. Multiple Banshees with Cloak, definitely getting back into TVZ, and if you're good with them, you can absolutely just shred drone lines and even straight up win the game, even at the highest level. See the Korean Terrans do it all the time to high-level Korean Zergs and world champions. With the Stim follow-up, we are confirming that ExpecT is just going to go for a very normal 2nd and 3rd barracks bio follow-up here after pressuring with these Hellions and Reapers. Another Overlord kill.
Getting good value out of the Viking, that's for sure. You're already seeing Rex kicking off the creep spread, though, in spite of these Hellions. You know, that's something that obviously the Hellions can definitely help you out with. You're talking about the map control and the safety. Definitely want to slow down that creep spread before it gets a little bit too far out of control, or you're going to be spending a couple of extra minutes just pushing it back later on.
Oh, is this a 3rd Overlord kill? Because that Queen's got no transfusions. As a Terran, you're really happy with how this game's gone so far with that Viking, and Spire on the way here from Rex, so we are going to get Lingbane Muta here for the Zerg. But yeah, at the moment, ExpecT, it's been really, really good for him so far. He's done a very, very good job at slowing down the macro of the Zerg. And now we're going to see if these Cloaked Banshees can really pile on the damage.
It's been doing a good job of threading the needle in terms of the vision. Hasn't gotten caught by any of the overlords. He's going to try and go for a multi-pronged maneuver in here. Just shoving at the front with the Hellions, trying to threaten the natural or the main, and in go towards the back line. Go the Banshees, which have not been spotted by Rex. Let's go for the Queen. Obviously, the Spore being over towards the right side is going to keep the majority of the drones safe. But he's exerting some pressure at least, and going to float over towards the left side and start to siege up at the drone line.
Yeah, these two Banshees one-shotting drones when they get their shots in tandem. And the 6 drones, maybe 7. Oh, not bad at all. 7 drone kills. 2 Banshees still alive, and they're out of there just as their cloak runs out. Good bit of harassment, and those Banshees continue to be a threat until that Spire finishes and those mutas hit. So a pretty good start here for the Terran still. I feel like he's exacerbating his situation. He's gotten from strength to strength. He's now heading towards a much better army supply as well, where when 1-1 and Combat Shield finish all together, he's going to have a lovely little push lined up for him through the middle of the map.
10 mutas on the way, though. Rex has done a good job farming away at the gas. He's really putting a lot of pressure on that 4th hatch in terms of these Banshees.
Oh,
that's going to help him later on. If that hatch... Oh, it's not even going to finish. I was going to say that will help him later on. If that hatch ends up being quite injured, he can definitely come in there and try to start to siege it up. And that way you don't have the room for error. You know, usually you see the siege on towards the hatch, and they have a little bit more time to prepare and get an extra wave of units out. If that hatch is injured, then that's really not going to be the case, unfortunately. And you're talking about Overlord kills, man. A 4th for the Viking. It's really working overtime. And in the meanwhile, you start to see this push come out just as the mutas start to pop out, and it's just going to be the backstab in here from Rex. He gets straight on top of the worker line, and there's just nothing here to defend from ExpecT.
I mean, there's not a whole lot here from Rex either. He's got to wait for those Banelings to get into a decent number. Speed is done for the Banes, so that's a plus side for Rex. Oh man, he is shredding these SCVs. This just straight Ling muta attack. Not even any Banelings, doing tons of damage. I mean, there is a lot starting to pile on here for the Terran as well. ExpecT's army looks very, very scary. Armory's done as well, so these Hellions can become Hellbats in this push. Grabbing tanks from the production facilities. If these mutas can get on top of the production, that's really bad for ExpecT. Can his Banes get this army connection? Can ExpecT split? Oh, that's so many Banes. Oh, no, there's just too many Zerg.
Yeah, it's too much for Rex. He's gotten so much damage. He's gotten critical damage done back at home from the Terran, who's got absolutely nothing left at this point. And Rex, in the meanwhile, defending that push over towards the 3rd, did lose his hatch, but he had another one on the south side being built. He was able to transfer the drones away safely, and a nice little defense there. Even though he ends up in an awkward situation, he's able to maneuver it quite comfortably, I thought.
I'm quite surprised that Rex managed to get the amount of units that he did there, because it felt like he was just taking blows one after another from the Terran. But I mean, not only did he keep composure, he just absolutely floored him with his army. He just had way too many units for the Terran to handle defensively and offensively. I was like, oh, I don't think there's anything at home for the Zerg. I think he sent everything at the third base of the Terran, and then all of a sudden, off camera, we just saw all his speed Banes rolling along, and I'm like, oh, hang on a minute. He's been making units on the down low here. That Viking was really cash money for ExpecT. I think it was 3 Overlord kills, and it got a 4th on the high ground in the middle of the map later. Very nice.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, while this push was coming in, you already saw Rex, after he lost that hatch, he re-expands, and then he immediately had that extra hatch happening towards the bottom left side. Right after he cancelled that hatch, he went for the second hatch over towards the left side immediately, and it just gives him more and more options. Even though you did see the push in there, the shove towards the 3rd of Rex, he's able to just run the drones away and relocate to a different source of income that's going to be available to him sooner rather than later. Whereas ExpecT, when he loses his 3rd source of income back at home, he just doesn't have the same options. He doesn't have the same flexibility that Rex has available to him.
Well, ExpecT definitely made that a pretty competitive game 1. That was very, very close. In fact, I would say he was leading the game for most of it there. Until obviously, you know, Rex got the good engagement and made the really smart decision in the end to just hit him real hard with all of the Mutalisks and a handful of Lings to just get on top of the production. I feel like you get on top of the production of the Terran, you really cut the head off the snake. And there's not really a whole lot that the Terran can do about that once you get into that point. But we're going to take a short break, guys. When we return, can ExpecT tie it up with a 2nd map win? Let's find out together. We'll see you then. G'day, StarCraft fans. Welcome back. We are getting into Game 2 very shortly here between Rex and ExpecT with the Zerg. It seemed like he was losing until suddenly he was winning. And that's basically the TLDR of Rex and ExpecT Game 1. Let's see if ExpecT can tie it up, though, and get ourselves a bit of a competitive series with a win on Map 2, which I believe was on 2,000 atmospheres, if I'm not mistaken. I think Remanda side was the third map, but yeah. It's a little hard to remember, but it's usually a rotation of those three maps. People really like those three maps for best of threes.
Yeah, the maps where you can try to play a little bit more straight up of a game, man. That intro, the intro on all of these ESL shows gets me every time. The Epic Stadium event, you got the pyrotechnics and stuff like that. I feel like I should liven things up. It's just a cut to my bedroom. Maybe I should bring like a lighter in here or something like that. But
yeah, just
I don't want to lose my job.
How do you think the girlfriend's going to feel if you set up some pyrotechnics and some lasers in that room in there?
Probably badly. I think I would end up very injured. I have a little bit of hairspray in my hair, so that's probably not going to end too well. A man who is not going up in flames, though, so far, is this blue Zerg here, currently up 1-0 in his series. Let's see if he can finish it off. It is Rex.
And in the bottom right, slightly more on fire than his opponent at the moment, but can he put it out and turn this into a tied series? This is ExpecT. You know what I think every time I see that opening video where Rogue has an exasperated sigh, he's just become the world champion, puts his hands on his hips. Specifically that moment when he puts his hands on his hips and he looks around the stage, I think that Rogue is saying to himself in his brain, God, I love the Nidus Worm.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. It's like another
out of everyone, Rogue.
Yeah,
Rogue I would be expecting like Dark or something like that to be Nidusing a little bit more. Rogue. I think that was from 2019. That clip there, and in 2019, Rogue was all about that Nidus Worm. I promise you. Okay.
Yeah, that was a yesteryear though. Yeah, in 2020, Rogue was all about making a Roach Warren and just rushing people. In ZVP anyway.
Man of many talents.
Yeah.
Probably explains why he's so good.
That's right. And won so many hundreds of thousands of dollars. Guys made about $1 million playing StarCraft 2. It's good stuff.
Oh yeah. That's a dream right there.
That's a dream.
Some pretty decent earnings for both of these players as well though. You know, making a couple tens of thousands of dollars for themselves, grinding it out in the Taiwan region. It's not too bad at all.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, anytime you can get a like a five-figure career earnings, I feel from playing in a region like Taiwan or Oceania, like for instance, Probe, he's made just about 100 grand a prize pool, just under, I'd say, for the region of Oceania, which is really wonderful because he's not a WCS champion, he's not an EPT champion, but he's definitely a Masters champion multiple times here and a WCS qualifier champion multiple times, and that really stacks up when you're number one for that long in a consistent region, or consistent in any region.
I mean, Probe's doing well for himself in terms of the tournament earnings, when in literally every interview the man says something along the lines of went out and got some nice food. So he's just, you know where it goes.
I remember when I was trying to be a professional gamer, I was on water crackers, and if I had a good tournament, I could get water crackers and dip.
Oh, bit of hummus.
Yeah. French onion for me, cheese and chives.
French onion?
I was a kid, all right? So my flavor hadn't really packed in yet. My favorite thing was nuggets and fries. I didn't really have a palate yet. That came later as an adult. Well, this Reaper Expand here from ExpecT, he's playing very normally, once again, very standard. Haven't really talked about the game because it's honestly very similar to the last game. Zerg just going for a regular 3-base opener. No early Roach Warren, no anything crazy from the Zerg, and the Terran going for a 1-1-1 here with the fast expand.
Yep. More Crete, Vikings, Hellions. Rex is going to get in here with the Overlord and reveal pretty much nothing other than at least there's no craziness in terms of the cloaked Banshees and things like that. Doesn't actually see the starport. Sees the stim starting. I'd imagine that that Overlord's probably done for as soon as the Viking does get out. But after all said and done, Rex is going to be feeling pretty comfortable about how this game's going because the last time he had a game like this, it went pretty well for him.
Well, I mean, seeing the tech lab spinning on the barracks is pretty interesting information because that is a very quick stem here from the Terran. Normally, the starport we flipped on over with the tech lab, or the factory we flipped on over, and you'd be getting an extra couple of barracks and then getting the tech labs on those, and that's when you start your stim and your combat shield. But this time, going for stim immediately, the Zerg knows that they're very likely going to have to deal with Marines a little bit earlier than they potentially would have expected.
It's interesting that that's the case, though, because I'm not seeing any extra racks. I'm not seeing any crazy Marine production. I'm seeing an armory. So is he doing that to throw Rex off? Is that what's happening here? You see the Bane nest being dropped as well?
I mean, potentially. It also potentially could just be a Hellbat stim timing where you show up with some Marines as well as the Hellbats. He's only got the one Marine at the moment, so you know that stim upgrade is quite expensive for the single 50 mineral unit that's patrolling in the main base. So I'm expecting more here shortly enough.
Okay, there we go. A couple more racks being added, some reactors as well. You might be on to something, Maynard. So you've watched a game of StarCraft before. The armory finishing up, though, I think he's going to go initially with the Hellbats and then maybe a bit more of a Marine follow-up, perhaps.
Certainly. Definitely seems to be the case. Hellbat showing up now at the third base. Seems like Rex has got quite a few queens here, but as far as a fighting force goes, it is just Lings, which he's trying to turn into Banelings right now. If the Banelings get up with the queens, he can actually fight and kill all these Hellbats. But until then, these Hellbats definitely rule the roost at the moment here at the third base, denying a whole bunch of mining time. They haven't killed too many drones. The Banelings obviously very far away from having speed. The Lair's only just finished, and he's gone straight into Spire. The Banelings get an okay bit connection there, softening up the army enough for the Lings to come in. The Queen's doing the rest. Not really any drone kills, but a bunch of denied mining time. Wasn't free for ExpecT though. That's you know, that's the problem here for the Terran is, yeah, you've denied some mining time, but you've lost, you know, 800 minerals worth of Hellbats.
Yeah, didn't really get too much damage there. The Lib didn't get too much either as it did go down. That was kind of the multi-prong harass he was looking for. The follow-up for ExpecT is he wants to try to get more into a macro game from this point. Going into the upgrades, he's already added that third CC and the wall over towards the natural, similar to that previous game. And now he's trying to get his macro game rolling for himself. But at least last game, he had that tank Marine follow-up pressure ready to go as the Spire finished up. This time around, though, Rex, a much quicker Spire, he's already got the mutas on the way, so he can go and actually potentially pressure the Terran rather than the other way around.
Yeah, this is a pretty fast Spire here, so these meters are going to be probably a little bit faster than the Terran would have kind of assumed that the Zerg would get to them. But he is getting those turrets up, well timed here. ExpecT dotting his I's and crossing his T's.
Love to see it. Those upgrades are kind of going along pretty smoothly here for ExpecT though, so potentially some pretty strong timings in the future for this man, as he has got that third base economy starting to be saturated. He's establishing the turret over there, but is it even going to finish up? SCV gets picked off. It will finish just in time, so really nicely timed there. A stim on all those Marines doesn't get any damage onto the mutas, and the Marines pretty out of position means that a few SCVs will still go down, but actually pathing the mutas not really in the most ideal of ways, almost loses him a couple.
Ah, man, ExpecT trying to capitalize here with the mutas, kind of expecting Rex to just pay a little bit more close attention to the mutalisks and maybe not the push in the middle of the map. Actually gets his drop completely deflected by the Banelings there. Nice little high ground Widowmine drop. This is one of the fantastic things you can do as a Terran on Romanticide is hide Widowmines up there and be in range of those minerals. You see it in TVP and TVZ as well. It is going to be a cleanup. 6 drones going down. It hurts Rex, but it doesn't destroy Rex. He's still got a decent drone count. The mutas also killed the medevac, which is really good for the Zerg. And, oh, smart servos is being researched here for the Terran. Interesting. Wonder what that's for. Is he intending to get more Hellbats? Because that doesn't actually, you know, do anything for you. I wonder if he meant to start drilling claws and he got the wrong one. I think that's a misclick. I'm going to guess it's a misclick.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I've seen that be...
It's not for the Thor's Insaner. He's clicking on the Thor. I'm like, no.
Transform fast.
Yeah, I want you to switch from the mode that's good against Mutalisks to the mode that's bad against Mutalisks in this game with only Mutalisks.
Well, if you accidentally switch to the wrong mode, then you'll switch back faster. Makes sense.
Oh, it's brilliant. I'm embarrassed, honestly, that I didn't think about that. 9 drones went down in the natural there. Good bit of Widowmine damage from ExpecT. Definitely still keeping his presence felt on the Zerg side of the map, which is great. And he's really on top of his upgrades too. Good macro. But that is almost certainly meant to be drilling claws for these Widowmines that he's got smart servos there. Or transformation servos. Actually forget the name of the upgrade.
Look at Rex though. just diversifying all the hatches on his side of the map. He's going up towards like 90 drones at this point. Maybe can add some more static defense a little bit later on, going into the infestation pit, potentially the hive, starting to make his way through the upgrades, and really just being active with these mutas. ExpecT trying to keep the pressure on, being active with a couple of dropships, starting to move out on the map a little bit more. Adding himself another CC, adding himself some more Thors. That is a lot of banelings going down for... I thought it wasn't going to be very much value, but did get a couple of connections there towards the end.
Yeah, I think ExpecT maybe didn't respect the amount of... that the banelings would get as many Marines as they did, because he didn't stim for quite a while there. If I see banelings, I insta-stim as a knee-jerk reaction. But ExpecT was like, no, I got this. And then they, oh, no, they're closing in. Okay, nope, they're a melee unit. This is bad. And I mean, I still think it was a better trade for him, though. The problem is that Rex has got 83 drones, got plenty of money, and trades like that are something that he can afford to do. Terran losing units less so, but does still have a pretty beastly-looking bio army here.
Well, Rex adding more and more of these melee upgrades and things like that going into the hive. Is there a specific late game that he's going for outside of just adding some ultras and you know, the adrenal glands and all that kind of stuff?
I mean, it does certainly look like he's going for that mass melee build. Like you mentioned, the Ultralist makes a ton of sense here. Adrenal for the Lings. He's already invested so much money into the upgrades. He could go into a tier 3 air army, but you know, that looks like Broodlords, which is something that you don't see too often anymore.
Decent trades there. Oh, that is a lot of banelings getting cancelled there. Out on towards the right side. ExpecT moving out on the left and towards the middle as well. He's just trying to push this creep back. Rex has done a really excellent job just taking some map presence and slowing the Terran down, and this is going to give him time for exactly this. He's just able to recognize, okay, the Terran's making moves out on the map. Now I can prepare accordingly, more for a lot of banelings in here. And speaking of banelings, some decent connections over here on the right side, but he's going to need more where that came from.
Yeah, certainly, and these mutas need that ground support because the two Thors at the back line are actually quite a bit of a threat, and these Marines even more so in the backside. He is fighting on creep, and that's quite a few Banes. Rex trying to capitalize on that moment. Coming in now with the mutas on the north side, which are still very, very softened up. A little bit of the Thors going down there, and it looks like Rex is so confident that he's got this. He just keeps throwing units at the problem, maybe getting a little bit cavalier and a little wasteful with the Mutalisks. But he's replenishing them now as he gets 4 more on the production tab and is chasing down these medevacs.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't necessarily as efficient as it could have been, but I think it's at the point where he's like 85 drones, don't care. He's got like 5 hatches as well. Could even chop hatch up towards that north side. So not feeling too bad about that one at the end of the day. CC finishes up for ExpecT, so he can try to expand over towards that 4th base, but I feel like that's where things get a little bit more tricky, because on this map in particular, you know, you got that left side base, you got that space up towards the top center side. Both of those a little bit harder to defend than just the initial 3 CCs in the triangle formation.
Well, he's already gotten a base denial up here to the north side with the Mutalisks. You know, Terran's trying to capitalize on the fact that they've got you know, enough SCVs to saturate that 4th, but as far as SCVs are concerned, that's been a problem for ExpecT this game. He's never really had, you know, that sweet spot of 75, 80 workers in a 4th base, which is a planetary all set up and run with turrets next to it. Rex has never let it got it there. He's kept his boot on his neck, and he's not giving him breathing space on his side of the map. And anytime the Terran moves out, I feel like ExpecT really needed that push earlier to kind of hurt the Zerg a lot more than it did. He traded against units, but he didn't really hit the economy. And the creep that he cleared up is being replenished. And now the planetary is starting to look a little bit more convincing. And the turret's going to get up here, but again, only on 61 workers. Ultra Cavern, I was going to say, what's happening here with this hive? Finally, the Ultra Cavern does go down. And when the Ultras meet up, he's going to see a lot of... I mean, this is the Terran. You're like, oh, I've got a bunch of Marines and Widow Mines. Well, you know, you need something a little bit more convincing than that if you want to actually fight the Ultras toe-to-toe.
Yeah, need to see Rex continue along his upgrades, and like you said, continue spreading the creep. He started towards the south side, but definitely needs some more coverage over on that east side as well, because he's starting to take some hatches over on that side of the map. So if he wants to reliably use those as sources of income, then he's going to need to continue that creep spread. Meanwhile, though, you do see the Zerg player diving on top of the Terran's 3rd base, just trying to trade those Banelings as efficiently as possible. The split's pretty good, and still a couple of Banelings alive, just trying to dive on top of the SCVs. You were talking about the SCV count there, Maynard, and losing some more of those will not put ExpecT in a good position. You don't want to be dropping down to like 40 workers.
Yeah, he's being outmined quite heavily here, especially in gas by the Zerg, which it kind of makes sense. You don't really want a ton of gas here as a Terran, but that does mean that the Zerg is going to be able to make those tier 3 units. We've got some Ultras in production right now. Chitinous plating, 3-3 on the way for the melee. I don't know if he's gotten Adrenal yet. I don't remember seeing it in the production tab, but that would obviously help him a lot, as he got a lot of links still that could be great in this battle. And yeah, he has not got Adrenal yet. Definitely something that he's potentially forgetting to get, and is a super useful upgrade when you are so melee focused.
More and more lings just staying active out on the map. Rex, without the creep coverage up towards this north side, is potentially threatened by what ExpecT's throwing at him, but I just don't feel like this army is threatening enough at the moment in terms of size for Rex to be terribly concerned right now.
Decent enough Widow Mines, though, does at least thin out the front line of Rex's defenses. Look at this map, though, Billy. Like, the map is really just all Rex. He's got creep everywhere. He's got at least 60% of it, and the Terran's got this little pocket, and it feels like he's in the dark. Like, the Terran just has no map control at the moment.
Yeah, we've gotten to the stage of the game where you go to Rex and you say, what base do you want? And he says yes.
Exactly. Yep. And the only one that's going to be tough, I guess, is probably the Terran's main. But other than that, he really can take a base wherever he wants. Banelig's going to be on the left side. I think that, Rex should be deflected here by ExpecT. But I'm a little bit more nervous, honestly, about this angle. ExpecT is trying to take a 5th up here to the north side. Zerg knows about it. Those SCVs are all on their lonesome long-distance mining here. And Rex is going to pounce, coming in with those Ultras, coming in with those Banelings. The Banelings running past the Thors, looking for that Marine Ball. They got nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Banelings connecting with the bio units. The Ultras giving him a big old cuddle as well. And yeah, I mean, ExpecT just takes more and more damage every time Rex comes to this side of the map.
Yeah, I felt kind of like a matter of time. Again, ExpecT kind of dividing his forces up at the moment, trying to fight towards the south side while defending his top side, but he just did not have enough units to be able to effectively defend that planetary up there, and now he's trying to shove towards the center of the map, but this is where surely the reinforcement's going to be more than enough to deal with. There's just so many lings, not enough energy on the medevacs to keep the bio healthy, and Rex is just cleaning this up.
And with the mutas coming in from the north, there's medevacs have run out of boost, and everything's going to die on the way back to the Terran's infrastructure. That just means the wind of the sails has been taken out of ExpecT, and Rex is going to take the 2-0 victory. A pretty good game too, though. Very fun. Definitely neck and neck, and a good trade there for both players. They're a lot closer match than I thought.